Hey, she didn't greet me, didn't even glance my way, just snatched her keys, mumbled about needing space, and left. That was 33 days ago. Not a single message since. No, I'm back. No, can you pick up groceries? Just emptiness. Like I'd vanished unless the house was messy. But I kept going, cleaning, folding her clothes, even watering that dumb cactus on her desk she always forgets about. I thought maybe she was dealing with something. Maybe I should wait. But last night, everything shifted. She strolled in like nothing happened. Perfume I hadn't smelled in ages, lipstick from 2 years ago. She breezed past me like a shadow in heels, humming as if life was perfect. Then came the kicker. What's for dinner? Before I could process, she hugged me. Smiling, cheerful, she said, "Do you know why my card got declined at the salon?" Had to use my backup. No apology, no explanation, just a hug and a question about money. I didn't yell, didn't blink. I just stared and said, "I don't fund disrespect." Her smile vanished instantly. For 2 seconds, silence filled the room. Then she said something unforgettable, something chilling. It made me realize how little I knew the person I lived with. And that wasn't all. I didn't ask where she'd been. I didn't need to. Her reaction told me everything. She laughed nervously, brushing it off. "Wow, you're really mad over a billing issue?" I didn't respond. I turned back to the laundry, letting quiet speak for me. That infuriated her. Within moments, she was storming around the living room, throwing accusations. "So now you're punishing me? Trying to control me with finances?" I stayed silent. Folding clothes seemed to unnerve her more than shouting ever would. Furious, she stormed out, slamming the door harder than ever before. This time, I didn't sit and wait. Out of curiosity, I logged into an old shared account we hadn't used in months. My heart sank when I saw recent orders. Cologne I don't wear, whiskey I can't afford, a leather wallet not meant for me. All shipped here, addressed to her. Then I checked the Ring camera footage. A stranger appeared, a man I'd never seen. Mid-30s, polished, overly confident, casually waving at the camera as he walked out our door during one of my late work nights. Her silence wasn't stress, it was planning. Piece by piece, she was replacing me. I should have said something. I should have shouted, thrown something, demanded answers. But instead, I sat there with a pile of her clothes and tears I refused to shed. She came home late and went straight to bed. I pretended to sleep. The next morning, while I scraped frost off the car, she opened her glove box and something fluttered onto her lap. A note, handwritten, but not by me. She didn't notice I saw it. It slipped out as she grabbed her sunglasses, landing softly like a secret waiting to be uncovered. I froze, staring through the windshield. I couldn't read it all, but 2 words stood out in blue ink. Last night. Below it, a tiny heart. Not my handwriting. She tucked it away casually, no guilt, no pause. I should have confronted her then, but instead I got into the car and asked if she wanted coffee. "Yeah, oat milk like always," she said, as if everything was fine. We drove silently. Her phone buzzed twice. She tilted it away from me. When I asked who it was, she muttered, "Just work," and changed the subject. I let her ramble about a coworker's promotion, gym memberships, some random squirrel story at the gas station. All of it sounded distant, muffled, because all I could think about was that note. Later, when she left her phone in the bathroom, I checked. A new contact, James, contractor. My heart raced as I opened the thread. The last message read, "Can't stop thinking about you. Last night was unreal. Let me know when I can see you again. Tell your wife you're working late if you need an excuse." I didn't scream. I didn't throw the phone. I just sat on the edge of the tub, cold tile under my feet, reading it over and over. Then I forwarded it to myself. For hours, I walked in circles around the backyard, rehearsing what I'd say. I thought about packing her things, but when she came home that night, she kissed my cheek like nothing was wrong, and I kissed her back. Why? Because I still didn't want to believe it, but deep down, I already knew. 2 days later, I found something worse. Sorting laundry Sunday morning, I smelled her usual citrus detergent. Then, folding one of her gym tops, something fell to the floor. Not a sock, a black t-shirt, too big for either of us. No tag, no logo, no scent, just a plain men's shirt that didn't belong. At first I stared, trying to convince myself it was from the laundromat. Perhaps it got mixed up at the gym, or maybe I was losing my mind. I pushed it back into the basket and stayed quiet. But later that day, I saw her wearing it. Not outside, not casually around the house, but in bed. She wore it like it belonged to her, like it meant something. I walked in and found her curled up on the mattress edge, scrolling through her phone, legs tangled in that shirt. Something inside me snapped. "Where'd you get that?" I asked. She glanced up as if the question made no sense. "What? The shirt?" She blinked. "Oh, I don't know. Must be one of yours." It wasn't, and she knew it, but she didn't hesitate, just kept scrolling like it was nothing. That night, I couldn't sleep. Lying beside her, listening to her soft snores in that unfamiliar shirt, I stared at the ceiling, thinking about all the unspoken lies between us. Silence is a cruel betrayal. It leaves too much space for your imagination to fill. So I did what I hadn't done in years. I snooped. While she showered the next morning, I opened her laptop. She never changed her password. I wasn't sure what I was looking for, but within minutes I found a folder labeled Work. Inside were screenshots, messages, a hotel receipt, and a photo. One photo hit me so hard I nearly dropped the laptop. She wasn't just cheating, she was documenting it. On the screen, she laughed with him, leaning close like I didn't exist. They sat on a hotel balcony. She wore the sundress I'd bought her for our anniversary. He wore the shirt I'd just found in our laundry. Between them sat 2 half-empty glasses and a smile on her face I hadn't seen in years, the carefree kind she once gave me. I closed the laptop without saving anything. Maybe I didn't want proof. Maybe I didn't want to hold on to my own humiliation. Or maybe deep down, I knew no one would believe me unless they saw her the way I had. When she emerged from the shower minutes later, wrapped in a towel, humming, I thought my knees might buckle. She kissed my shoulder and said, "Can you make coffee today? I'm running late." Just like that. No idea what I'd uncovered, no clue. My hands trembled, but I made the coffee anyway. That night, I sat in the garage staring at our car. Her lipstick marked the rearview mirror. Her scent lingered on the seat. I thought about driving off, anywhere, but my name was still on the mortgage, my clothes still in the closet, my toothbrush still beside hers. This was my life, yet it felt like someone else was living it while I watched from the sidelines. The next morning, I asked her point blank, "Are you happy with me?" She looked confused. Then she smiled and said, "You're steady. That's worth something, isn't it? Steady like a table, like a frame, like something you rest your keys on before walking away." I nodded, but inside something splintered. And for the first time in this tangled mess, I began to feel something unfamiliar. Not sorrow, not envy, something sharper, resolve. I avoided speaking to her for 2 days after that. Not out of anger or punishment. No, I simply didn't trust my voice. What if honesty slipped out instead of calm? She didn't seem to notice anyway. Her rhythm stayed intact. Still left with makeup flawless, returned late brushing off questions with casual quips. Once she called me love, as though old words could mend fractures. I kept up appearances, pretending not to see her hide her phone when I entered, pretending not to hear her muffled laughter behind closed doors while I sat alone downstairs. But within me something shifted. Quietly, I began packing small items, socks, a few shirts, tools from the garage. Into a duffel bag they went, hidden under blankets in my car trunk. She never checked there. Why would she? She barely saw me anymore. Then one Friday night, unexpected happened. She came home crying, not loud sobs, just red eyes and uneven cheeks, a distant gaze I hadn't seen in years. "What's wrong?" I asked. She looked at me like I was invisible. "Nothing, work," she muttered. Then softly, "Do you still love me?" My throat tightened, not because the answer was hard, but because I never thought she'd care enough to ask. A blank fury filled me. Why now? After all this? But all I said was, "Do you still respect me?" She didn't reply, just turned toward the kitchen, pouring wine in the dim light. I watched her from the shadows, and that's when I realized I wouldn't beg for scraps of her attention anymore. It was time to reclaim my own life. Saturday morning, I woke before her for once. She lay asleep on the couch, cocooned in a blanket like armor against everything she'd torn apart. Her glass sat nearby, half empty. The air smelled stagnant, heavy with regret. No coffee brewed, no laundry started. Instead, I opened the storage closet and retrieved an old box buried beneath coats and forgotten memories. Inside were my journals, pages brimming with optimism. I flipped through one and almost laughed. Those entries overflowed with hope. Little things like, "She laughed so hard today she snorted," or "She called me her favorite person." Those messy notes no longer felt like mine. They seemed like someone else's memories, someone who hadn't been ignored in his own house. Then I did something unusual for me. I printed the hotel picture, one copy, no marks, no note. I placed it in the middle of our dining table, right on her unused placemat. And then I waited. She didn't come downstairs until nearly noon. No makeup, no excuses, just tired eyes and a mumbled greeting after a fake stretch. I watched as she entered the kitchen. At first she missed the photo, but when she saw it, everything stopped. No gasp, no tears, just this slow, hollow understanding spreading across her face. In her eyes, I could see she knew the game was over. "Still," she tried. "It's not what you think," she whispered. I said nothing. Slowly, she picked up the photo as if it might burn her. Then came the most absurd question I've ever heard. "Did someone send this to you?" That's when I stood up, because the truth was worse than anything she imagined. No one sent it. She had saved it herself. Clutching the photo, she waited for me to scream, throw something, or break down. But I didn't. I just looked at her, really looked, and for the first time in months, I wasn't angry. I was done. "No one had to send it," I said calmly. "You saved it on your laptop under work. That's what I am to you now? Background noise while you live another life?" Her mouth opened, but no words came out. No denial, no apology, just silence from someone who'd spent weeks pretending I didn't exist. Suddenly, she didn't know how to act when seen. "I'm not yelling," I added, "because I'm not fighting for us anymore. I already packed my bag. I'm not leaving because I'm weak. I'm leaving because I finally realize I deserve more than being tolerated." Tears filled her eyes, but for once I didn't feel small or defeated. I felt free. I walked out with nothing but my duffel bag, car keys, and a relief I hadn't felt in years. That was 2 months ago. Since then, I've moved into a quiet apartment across town. Some days are lonely, but I wake up without dread. I read, cook meals without judgment, talk to people, and even started journaling again. New entries filled with real hope, not desperate optimism. Best of all, I finally feel like myself again. Not her shadow, not her placeholder, just me. She called once. I let it ring.
Closure isn't always dramatic. Sometimes it's simply not answering when they finally notice you're gone. Задерживались ли вы когда-нибудь в чем-то, что уже закончилось? Что именно заставило вас осознать это? Поделитесь своими мыслями в комментариях.